The Deep Talk with Mr. Henry.
Thank you so much for watching this show. It's not a usual one. See bulijjo Mr. Lubwama tukyali naye. Mr. Chugos. The biggest artist in East Africa. Akyasinze awards one mu. There are a lot of people that don't agree when you say you're the most awarded artist.
Hip-hop artist.
Hip-hop
That
artist.
is definite. That
In
is
East Africa. Kenya tulinayo bani. There's the Juakali, King Kaka, there's Nyashiski, there is then when we go to TZ there is who?
AY. One FA.
You have more awards than all of those
Yeah,
guys.
AY is right behind me. AY is also up there.
Okay.
It's not a joker. But yeah, I don't know. These aren't even like stats from me. So when I go to Kenya, they tell me, "You man, can't believe the amount of awards in a place that has no awards."
Oh, yeah.
How have you managed? So it's when I travel that is when people tell me these stats. But I'm not really watching for awards. I'm not counting them anymore. I win an award, I send it to my mom. Like that's
Yes.
So I'm not even watching for that because I think that staple gets away from what it's about. What are my lyrics about?
Yes.
What am I saying in songs? Am I representing? Ruaga, my hood, my city, my town, hip hop. Those questions for me are going to be the more important ones. Was he dope? That for me as a
What
rapper.
legacy did he
Yes.
leave behind
I'm
us?
There's a lot of artists, Kendrick may never get as many awards as Jay-Z, but is he dope? You know what I mean? Those are the questions that are more important for me.
My next question was supposed to be what lessons you learn in the game after 20 years. But before that, I've personally interacted with some kids that are down who are immensely, extremely talented when it comes to hip-hop. But they never rise. They never shine. What do you think the problem is in this country? I know there's a kid watching out there saying Navio is dope, he's done it. They feel like they can do it as well, but their heads just can't come out.
For me, that is one of the things that can keep me up at night. When I hear a dope rapper, and then I feel like he may never get the shine he deserves. That is one of the things my crew actually, me, Flex, the Myth, other guys in the crew, that's one of the biggest things that hurts us. So even us, like think about this December. It's only been, a couple of weeks. And we've already done the Hip Hop Festival last week. And we've done Tuyingire System, which basically showed off. Between those two shows, we put on 50 artists, maybe. 50 acts.
New ones.
New acts, old acts, established acts, legends. And it also had, graffiti, b-boying, fashion.
Beatboxing,
yes, beatboxing was there as well for Tuyingire System. All the things that make up hip hop, and that's just 2 weeks into it. I'm also going to be dropping the Navio X project because it's up to us to set up those platforms. You have stuff like the Hip Hop Awards, for example. Which also is the only hip hop award show in the region. There's now Uncut, but none have been running for 6 years, like the one in Uganda. And then you have the Summers in South Africa. So I think it's maybe like 4 or 5 on the continent. And Uganda has one of those hip-hop awards. It's saying something. But whenever I hear those kids, first of all, I feel like, how am I going to get the word out to maybe give a kid a piece of my mind without breaking a sweat? Because taking the calls and everything has been it's crazy. You can't talk to 3,000 people in a week to try to tell them how to make it. So as a crew, we sat down and we had heard a lot of stuff happening with the UNMF and what legacy are you leaving, how are you helping the kids? I'm like, well, I've signed a few guys who have gone on to even conquer Africa, but let's write a book. Let's put all that information down in a book. We're still playing with what the title's gonna be, but the book itself is ready. And it's about, play hard, work hard. You can always enjoy yourself in this life. Make sure you stop to smell the roses. Enjoy the rise to the top, but work hard.
So that means Navio is going to write a book.
Navio has written a book.
Navio has written a book.
The book is done. It's just about now when to release it, how to release it to the public, because we're getting those questions from the youth. They're like, guys, you know, and I can't believe actually that a lot of people in our position, you know, guys, other guys who've been in the game even 10 years, 15 years, you know, you have all that knowledge you've collected, but we've never put it anywhere. And when I finished the book, I was like, this is only 1/10 of the information. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that's missing. But
So there's another book.
there has to be. There has to be, because when I started writing it, I was like, I'm just going to put my thoughts down. So don't look
Navio,
for
as an artist, I mean, you're booked, you're performing, then you're a family man. How does Navio write a book? Do you get like people to type and you're like, let me just talk, and you guys type?
Yeah, well, I have to say, having the phones now in a digital age,
Yes.
it's great, because back in those days you couldn't put the thing in like your SMS, your 3310 Nokia. It couldn't fit. But now you can write, you know. So between the shows, between the interviews, you know, in my downtime, it has been nice to get those notes down and try and organize them. I think that for me is the hardest thing, organizing it in a logical way, because I'm a creative myself. So when you try fit me in a box, sometimes I'm like, hey, but I want to talk about what happened in Australia.
Yes.
You know, so that's been the hardest challenge about writing the book. But I feel like that can be my contribution, because a lot of guys are like, how are you helping the youth? Now, when someone asks me a question, I can just tell them, hey, chapter 13.
Yes.
Hey, oh no, chapter 6, verse 2. And chapter 1, you know.
Is this book going to be for sale?
Yes.
What's your plan?
Yeah.
Are you going to distribute it in stores? Are we going to buy it online?
Yeah, I think we have to do all of the above.
Olowooza si gwe muyimbi asoose owandiika ekitabo? Hip hop artist.
I don't know.
In Uganda? In Uganda, I mean.
Yes, it must, maybe. I don't know who else has a book, but I think I might be the first. Am I the first artist to write a book?
Let us know, guys, what you think. We
Who else has a book?
That's a tricky one.
Wow.
That's a tricky one.
You see, now I'm going to get more haters. You see, why you tell people these things? Now people are going to come for me even
Guys,
more.
Navi agenda wandika ekitabo. I mean, if you're a youngster out there watching this show and you're figuring out how to make it, you never know. Ekitabo ekyo kinoonye title tannagituwa, but I'm sure we shall get to know.
Yes.
And then
for now, we're working with play hard, work harder.
Play hard, work hard.
Mu Uganda, it is
Zanya nnyo, kola nnyo. Zanya nnyo naye kola nnyo naye zanya nnyo.
Yeah, hey.
Kola nga bw'ozanya. Oh, whatever.
Harder. Yeah, even harder actually. Work harder.
Something along that
Yes.
line. So let's get back to, you know, the lessons
Yes.
learned
Wow.
after 20 years as a human being,
Yes.
as a man, as a father, as an artist in a career.
Yes. You know when they say there can never be enough time in a day, it's real. It's real. What you need to get the balance between is the balance of being able to not do too much and then exhaust yourself at the same time as competing. There's a fine line. You see artists who come out and they'll do 50 shows. You know, they come out as a hot artist and they do so many shows in the space of a year, which is okay. They're generating money and whatnot, but sometimes it's not sustainable. You're trying to strike while the iron's hot, but sometimes it's not sustainable. And we do that in every facet of our life. You know, so some people will be like, hey, with girls, with, you know, alcohol, with, whoa. It's like you cannot overwhelm yourself. I'd say pacing yourself is one of the biggest things that you can learn in the industry. How can I remain competitive without overdoing it? It's like they say, do you want to be a 10 out of 10 artist for 6 months, or can you settle and be an 8 out of 10 artist for 10 years? You know,
10 out of 10 for 6 months, or 8 out of 10 for 6 years, for 10 years.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a weird thing. If you can humble yourself sometimes, resign yourself to what and play your role, play to your strengths, you know, you end up, I think that's how you get the longevity. You know, 5 years turns into 10 very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're doing something that's manageable. You know, I could come out here and I could, once in a while, you get yourself a car, you know, 10K chain and
Yeah, yeah.
You know, once in a while. But you're competing with heavy boys out there. You know what I mean? So if you're getting the chain before a car, if you're getting the car before a house, if you're doing those sort of things, you need to understand that there are ways to compete, and that's a lot of what I talk about in my book. There are ways to compete without putting yourself and sometimes your family at risk. And yeah, so one of the challenges is managing energy
Yeah.
at the same time as competing aggressively. You know, and I love that Palazzo hustle, for example. And
The Palazzo hustle, yeah.
you know, he's found a way to do it competitively, but still managing himself very well.
Yeah, very well.
And you need to be structured to do that.
Definitely.
You know, I mean, he's not out there partying and drinking it up, because there are very few legends who who can do that.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean. While staying competitive and staying at the top. Also, just to talk shortly about substance abuse, some of this stuff will take your talent from you.
We've seen them.
Some of the stuff
We
that's
know
out
them.
there will take your actual talent from you. You come to a Chipapura and you cannot write. You used to write for even other artists.
But now you can't.
Yes. You used to write a verse in 20 minutes. You just be sitting there with your, you know what I mean? Because the guy is drank too much. He's damaged himself. Wow, bits of your brain shut off. These are organs that you're just pouring live alcohol on and toxins on and chemicals on.
Yeah.
If you lose those parts of your brain, they're gone. You can lose the creative side of what you do, what you love the most. Then you start, okay, yeah, you can go and you can hire people to write from you. But in hip-hop, our personal story is so important. So, and people feel that in the music. So, yeah, just know that the thing that you love the most can be taken from you, depending on how much intake of these illegal
Substances that
you are taking. Can you imagine not being able to present? You come and you're like, Navio, anyway.
And I'm looking
How
for
are you?
questions and I can't find them. Yeah, yeah.
It's scary. It's scary. And you're on stage, you're in front of Uganda, and you cannot perform. That, to me, is one of the scariest things. And I've seen it happen to people close to me, people far away from me, people across town, people who are supposed to lead the charge in terms of Africa.
Yeah.
And for me, that's one of the scariest things. And I feel like the kids should be aware that that'll take you. That is a big challenge. It will come for free. The struggles you used to have of wanting to buy bottles, that stuff will come for free. You need to learn how to manage it now. Stay disciplined. Other challenges, yeah, we talked already last week about
yes.
beef. And, you know, just concentrating on the music, man. You don't need to compete with the next man. What you're competing for is the love of the people. If you want to compete for that. Is the love of the people. If you have the people on your side, you're already done. You're already a legend. So that's the people. I don't need to prove myself to Kamiri. Kamiri doesn't need to prove himself to. We know what we do, and we do it well. Let the people decide.
The
other challenge.
That one.
The other challenge.
That one.
I think substances we can talk about with this lifestyle, you know, clubbing, women.
We've seen people like you saw what happened to Keiko, you know. Extremely talented. But then a video surfaces on the internet when we can't even figure out what she's trying to say.
Yeah.
When you look at that video and then look back at, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Like, no, this cannot be happening.
Yeah.
There are a few youngsters that we've seen, and do you feel like the OGs have done enough to shelter the ones that are upcoming? Because
I think it's one. It's going to be such a weird thing to say. Economy. 10 years ago, an artist was getting paid 5 million to perform. Today, 10 years later, in Uganda, they were getting 5 million to perform. In Nigeria, they're getting paid 5 million to perform. Ghana, they're getting paid 5 million to perform, if you don't want to go to Nigeria.
this is in Ugandan shillings.
Yeah. Now,
equivalent.
10 years later, Ugandan artists are getting 5 million to perform.
Or 30.
Ghanaian artists are getting paid 100 million to perform. Same corporates, same breweries, same telecoms. Why is it our corporates are able to take advantage of each other? Because of the fabric we've created between the artists and promoters. These guys A lot of the corporates, they have the budget to be paying what the rest of the continent are getting, and they're not doing it. And us as promoters, we are allowing them to do that. You're allowing someone like Alien, who has however many hits, to get paid what he gets paid. You're allowing our legends to get paid what they get paid, because you're working. You feel like you're not part of the music industry. You're part of the corporate world. You're not. As a promoter, you're part of our world. You're part of the music world. Strengthening us strengthens your position. You have equipment that's worth $1 million when I have to do a show. How am I going to afford you if you don't empower me? What you should be telling the corporate is that, Chameleon has the power to pull 20,000 people. That's the equivalent of $500,000 worth of promotion. You can do that. We can do the calculations later.
Yes.
Just read my book. That is the equivalent of $500,000 worth of promotion. But you're giving him $50K for the show as one of the sponsors. It doesn't add up. It does not add up.
Yeah.
So we need to be very aware about that and realize that why are we the only country still paying the same? The dollar gets stronger against our shilling, but the artists are getting paid the same. That creates that competitive framework that creates beef, creates stress, means that we're not feeding each other, and brings those mental health problems you're talking
The
about.
depression, etc.
Yes, which leads into the substance abuse, etc. Because some of those substances, they're stimulants. The guy is like, I have 5 shows. I need to get to 5 shows. Because the show promoter cannot pay me what I deserve. Because he's not getting paid the right way from the corporate.
There's a new umbrella for you, the musicians, the arts industry, and that's the UNMF Federation. Do you feel like they're on the right track and you've not come out to speak? You've just been laid back and watching them from the sidelines. And I mean, after 25 years, we need some input from you, Navio.
I think I should be the president. No.
The table you're shaking.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But I literally, I've been there for a lot of meetings. I've been supporting. Thank God for Lillian being there. She has turned on her WhatsApp when I'm in Costa Rica, when I'm in Mexico.
Lillian
Babazi has been my eyes and ears from on the inside. Thank you so much for that, because I traveled for 5 months of this year. 4 months I was out there.
Yes.
But I did appear there many times.
Oh, yeah.
Many different times.
Did they give you a position?
No, because I knew I knew my capabilities. I cannot operate the position when I'm outside so much.
Oh, yeah.
This year.
But did they reach out? Did they reach out to say, Navio, can you take on this, or?
No, but my advice has been called on.
Okay.
I think that is the biggest thing that I hold is information. Information about how the rest of the world does it and how we can make it work here.
They need to buy your book.
Yes, actually. Purchase the book. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to get to a position where we can actually empower people. If the book is in demand in terms of an educative tool, I would rather see it go out to the people.
Yeah.
It's great to make money off it. I would rather see it go out to the people. If it can lend a lane to an artist who's coming up, give them a little bit of perspective.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I finished the book, I was like, this is only part 1.
Navio.
But
yeah,
I'll get it all down in time.
All the best. Copyright. You're somebody that really understands this. The way we are approaching it, the way the Federation is approaching it. I was having a discussion with somebody the other day, and we said the way the musicians are talking about the copyright is like it's a stone or something they have to drive a fuso, pick it, and then drop it somewhere. This is just a law. It's an act that is supposed to be put in action, and then they are distributing billions of money under the disguise of a copyright.
Yeah.
Is this the right thing to do?
I think people will sometimes simplify it. Of course, copyright is something we want to talk about as artists because it's important. But the 3 issues being discussed is 1, empowering the entertainment industry,
yes,
setting up an infrastructure, which takes money. Second thing would be the copyright law as it is.
Yes.
The other is royalties. So when people come, they say, copyright, we need our money. You're not discussing copyright. You're discussing royalties.
Yes, that's different.
Yeah, which is also very important.
Yes.
Government, I want to say, can we release taxing us guys until you've collected our royalties of radio and TV play?
They first hold on.
Why
Yeah.
are we being taxed what we're being taxed? Even at shows, when that is not being collected. When people play our music in radio stations, TV stations, there should be a fee, even taxes. This is how it's done elsewhere in the world. If you don't think us as artists are worth it and we're different from other artists in the world, tell us also. But this time, I'm just telling you how it is in the rest of the world. Clubs pay a fee that goes to the artist board. Taxis pay a fee because you're going to play music in your radios that's going to entertain
Yes.
the people who are sitting in your radios, in your buses and your taxis.
Yes.
Guys, of course, yeah, radio and TV, that's straightforward. Media, that's straightforward. And now it's very easy to monitor stuff because we have different platforms that can monitor the radios and TV stations. But yeah, those three issues, going back to those three issues. People come and they want to discuss one, royalties issues, that's a collection thing. Copyright, people copying my music, that's a defense thing. You don't want people copying your beat, your music, which means it's the smallest priority in terms of artists, because even the people who are listening to the music, they want to hear the original guy do his thing.
Definitely.
And then there's the other issue where it's infrastructure, which is going to cost money. We need offices, they need people to monitor these things,
We need
etc.
theaters, we need etc.
So that is what they're fighting for. But of course, when you talk about it as a blanket, people are like, hey, there's money collection protecting you. It all sounds a bit confusing. But
And the word we're hearing most is copyright.
yeah, as usual. Whereas we need to talk about royalties,
Yes.
and we need to talk about
Infrastructure.
as the two main issues in order to protect our actual copyright in the first place.
This has come in way later. In 2023, is this a discussion, honestly, any country should be having? In 2023, 21st century.
Crazy.
I think some people look at us and say, ha ha.
Yeah, yeah, they do. Especially, sadly, because we have the most vibrant industry. We have the most vibrant industry. Every big network comes to launch in Uganda, whether it was the MTVs or the Channel O's. These guys came to launch here because we had the most vibrant. Do you know how hard it is for the biggest guys on the other side to get 10,000 people at a show? You put a show right now, you get 10 of our biggest artists, and they're all going to pull that many people. You put them in town, one in Lugogo, one across at Chadondo, everyone's going to get people. They can't do that in other places in Africa. So we have the support of the people. We just need now to, we need the government to appreciate that. We need the corporates to appreciate that. We need the taxman to appreciate that. And realize that they make money, even as government, when we make money.
You have to make money first for them to make money.
You're coming to tax the $10 that I get. Whereas if you go the other way and give me the $100 that I get, that means you get $10 instead of one as the government.
Tuchagenda maso China Mr. Rubwama, we call him Navio, Mr. Chigozi, Bawama Tilda. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're still diving deep into a deep talk, Tovao.
Who sign you just to hold you. They see you competing with the artists that they have. They sign you just to hold you there while they push the artists that they want to push. That happens.
The Deep Talk with Mr. Henry.